Now, the US President Donald Trump has warned Russia he is running out of patience over the war in Ukraine, announcing a major weapons package for the war-torn nation and threatening to hit Moscow with more severe tariffs. Mr. Trump confirmed US-made Patriot air defence missiles will go to Ukraine with NATO member nations to cover the cost.
And he's given Russia a 50-day deadline to reach a ceasefire deal or face tough tariffs targeting its exports and the countries buying Russian oil. Let's go to North America correspondent Lauren Day in Washington and Europe correspondent Elias Clore in London. First to you, Lauren. Take us through what was in this announcement.
Well, Catherine, there are two main elements to today's announcement. The first being this major weapons package for Ukraine. There wasn't a great deal of detail on exactly what that will include, but we know that it does include up to 17 of these Patriot air defence systems, as well as missiles and ammunition. There had been some reporting prior to this announcement that it would also include some offensive weapons, but there was no detail on that today in the press conference. The important element of this announcement, however, is that it's the member states of NATO, countries including Germany, Finland, Denmark, Sweden. They will foot the bill for this. They will be buying billions of dollars of weapons from the US and then distributing them to Ukraine. And that's important because it allows US President Donald Trump to distance himself from any criticism that he is getting the US further enmeshed in another foreign war, which we know is not popular with his base and not popular with that America First rhetoric. Now, Donald Trump says that the weapons will arrive within days. The other significant announcement that came out today was this 100% tariff that Donald Trump says he'll impose on Russia if it fails to reach a ceasefire or a peace deal with Ukraine within 50 days. Now, that in and of itself would not make a huge impact on Moscow because it already sells so little to the US. But he also announced this secondary tariffs, or something that the White House later clarified he meant secondary sanctions on countries, third-party countries, that buy oil from Russia. Now, this will put more pressure on Russia, absolutely, but a 50-day deadline is still plenty of room to manoeuvre, plenty of time for Russia to do a fair bit of damage on Ukraine, and we know just how rubbery some of Donald Trump's deadlines have been in the past. But really, this is a sign of President Trump's growing frustration with Moscow, with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He, of course, spent years lavishing praise on the Russian president, but that's really turned around and that's soured within recent months. And once again today, we heard him expressing more frustration with Vladimir Putin. Here's what he told reporters earlier.
I don't want to say he's an assassin, tough guy. It's been proven over the years. He's fooled a lot of people. He fooled Bush. He fooled a lot of people. He fooled Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. He didn't fool me. But what I do say is that at a certain point, ultimately talk doesn't talk. It's got to be action. It's got to be result.
Now, there's not only pressure on Vladimir Putin, there's a lot of pressure on President Trump here. Of course, you would remember that Donald Trump promised to end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours when he was campaigning during the election campaign. But then once he took office, he said that he was just speaking figuratively. But he has said repeatedly that he wants to be a peacemaker president. He's really angling for this Nobel Peace Prize, and really Vladimir Putin is standing in his way here. So he'll be hoping that today's announcement gets him one step closer to finally ending this conflict.
He certainly will. Thank you, Lauren. Let's go to our Europe correspondent now, Elias Clore. Elias, what's the reaction been there?
Well, it wasn't long ago when Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he was extremely concerned by the Pentagon's decision to review the supply of some of its weapons to Kyiv. Now it would seem Mr. Zelensky will have access to quite a wide range of sophisticated American weapons, and it comes at a critical time. Although Russia's ground offensive is slowing, its aerial attacks are increasing in viciousness. Now, Mr. Zelensky has said he's grateful for this. He said that it shows a willingness by Donald Trump and the White House to protect Ukrainian lives. Now, earlier he met with the US Special Envoy to Ukraine, Steve Kellogg, where the pair discussed the upcoming delivery of Patriot defence systems, which Lauren has spoken about. This will help counter this aerial onslaught happening by Russia. So Mr. Zelensky said he was grateful for that discussion. He also said it was extremely productive. He's also spoken about the importance of restricting Russia's ability to bankroll its war effort. Now, the EU and the UK have imposed several rounds of sanctions on Russia, and now with the US threatening to impose tariffs on Russia and its allies, there's a sense that there could be a tightening on Russia's ability to fund its military exercises, its war in Ukraine. However, as Lauren mentioned, there's a 50-day grace period, so 50 days is 50 nights of Ukrainians living in fear as to what Moscow might do next.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow our page for more real-time updates and global headlines.